Hi everyone, today we're going to explore how to find the area and perimeter of irregular shapes. We know that to find the area means to find the space inside of a shape. So when we have an irregular shape, we don't have a formula specifically that we can use for that shape, and we're going to need to break the irregular shape into shapes that we do have formulas for. In this case, we have an option of breaking this irregular shape into a rectangle and two squares. In order to then find the area of each of these individual components, we're going to have to make sure we have the appropriate measurements. If we don't have them, we can figure them out. We'll need both the length and the width for each of the rectangles and for the squares. We don't have the width exactly for the rectangle, but we can figure it out. We also don't exactly have the length and width of the squares, but we can figure those out too. We can start by looking at the fact that the top line is 25 millimeters, and this section of the lower part of the rectangle is 13 millimeters. We can subtract 25 by 13 to get 12 millimeters, and then we'll know that this section is going to be divided up evenly between the remaining part of the bottom section of the rectangle. So that means we're going to have 6 millimeters for the space on either side of the 13 millimeters. We know that it was going to be divided equally because of these indicating marks that tell us that these sides are all equal to one another. This makes us conclude that each one of those tick marks is going to be worth 6 millimeters. So each of the sides of our square are going to be worth 6 millimeters. We can then find the area of the larger rectangle by doing 25 millimeters and then multiplying by its width. Well, its width we'll have to find as well. We know that this big side length is 20 millimeters, and if we subtract the 6 from it for the square side, we'll know that we have 14 millimeters left over. So we'll do 25 millimeters times 14 millimeters to get the area of the big rectangle. The small square will be 6 times 6, length times width, and then we can end off by adding up all of those areas together. So we'll add the area of the big rectangle to the area of the two small squares to get the area of our total irregular shape. Finding the perimeter of an irregular shape is only a matter of adding up all of the side lengths together. We'll need to look for sides that aren't labeled and figure out what their measurements might be using the measurements that are already provided. We know that the two equivalent sides of the regular shape are going to be the same, so the red sides are both going to be 20 millimeters. We don't know the lengths of these green sides, but we can find it using the information that's given. Let's recall what we did when we were finding the area of this shape in order to find the missing measurements. We looked at the 25 at the top of the rectangle and subtracted the 13 from it so that we could find what was left over on these remaining locations. In total, those two remaining locations are going to equal 12 because 25 take away 13 is 12. We can divide that 12 up evenly into two components to find that 6 millimeters is going to be the measurement of each of the tick marks that are given. Our final step is going to be to add all of those side lengths together in order to find the total perimeter of this irregular shape. So there you have it. Finding the area and the perimeter of irregular shapes is all about using what you know to find what you need. Good luck with your practice.